Okay guys, today I'm going to show you my quick and easy semi-homemade apple cider. I'm not as fancy as Miss Heim. She has made her own apple cider. I start with the stuff in the gallon from the store, and that is okay to do. However, you can absolutely drink this apple cider warm or cold. It's really good, but I like to fancy mine up a little bit and give it a little extra flavor that all my family and friends really enjoy, and they always wonder how I do it. And this is without adding any extra sugar. All right, so I've poured about half of the gallon of my cider into a saucepan that will fit it appropriately. You always want to think about that with your choice of pot or pan, right? So you've got your cider in there. I went ahead and lit the fire so that it's going to start to do a slow simmer. It's cold from the fridge, so it's going to take a little bit. I don't want to boil my cider. All I'm trying to do is bring it up to a heat that is going to be really good for serving, okay? And so my first secret ingredient is an orange. Okay, so there's a very specific way that I use the orange in this cider. And you can use any kind of orange that you want. This is a Cara orange, which is my very favorite one to use for cider, but the store doesn't always have that. So you can easily use navel oranges. If you have cuties on hand, those will work. Tangerines, anything. Whichever kind of orange is your favorite. And I like to slice a little more than half of the orange. And I take like 4 of these nice big slices, just a few, and I go ahead and sink those into the cider. And we want them with the peel on, because inside the peel of an orange is where all the awesome essential oils of an orange are living in there. And that's what's actually going to give the most flavor to my cider and give it a little bit of a citrus kick that brings out the apple. Now I don't waste these other pieces. This little end, I'm going to go ahead and squeeze that guy in there. Okay, and then I'm going to squeeze the little half that's left just to get some more of that orange juice into my cider. I'm just kind of utilizing that whole piece of fruit. Okay, so the other things I want to have on hand are some other things that I'll use to let this cider have a more mulled cider flavor or spiced cider flavor. And really what I did is I shopped in my spice cabinet. I'm not going into the sugar cabinet. I'm just looking at my spices. So I'm actually going to use cinnamon sticks. And I take cinnamon sticks. These are broken into small, like I would say 3-inch sticks. And it's up to you. I put maybe in a pot this size, like 3 or 4. We'll just kind of sink those in there. The other thing that I like to use are whole cloves. I found these in the spice aisle, or you can find them, you can even shop on Amazon for this. And I just do a few, I don't know, like 6 or so. Throw those in. Smell. That'll tell you what this is going to, final product's going to turn out like. And then I also like something called whole allspice. These look like little tiny peppercorns almost. Okay, but they're not pepper. If you smell them, they don't smell like black pepper at all. They definitely have a much warmer spice smell. And so we'll throw those in there. The reason I use whole pieces for this, so whole allspice instead of ground allspice, whole cloves instead of ground cloves, or whole cinnamon sticks instead of cinnamon powder that's ground up, is because I want this to simmer in my apple cider, and I'm actually going to fish it out. And it's just going to give a delicate spiced flavor versus me trying to stir all these spice powders in, which would actually have a much stronger spiced flavor. You can play with whatever you want and be your own chef. This is just what I do at my house. I'll bring this up to temperature, and then I'll show you the magic way that I serve it. Okay, so my cider has been bubbling along with all the things we added to it. And so what I want to do now, my biggest indicator that it was close to being done was that I could smell it. So I could smell that it was starting to smell amazing, and I came over here, it was on a nice low heat, and so it's ready to be served. It's very hot. But the first thing I want to do is take out all of my spicing objects. So you don't want to leave these oranges in there for too long. Specifically if you make quite a bit of cider and you decide that you want to store it. Sometimes I've made the whole gallon and I will put it in the fridge to after we have a couple servings out of it, so that it's just done and ready to go. The thing is if you leave the oranges in there, that essential oil that I was telling you is in the orange peel and the orange rind, which has a pith attached to it, it starts to actually taste like a bitter orange if you leave it stored that way. So I always recommend getting a slotted spoon or a strainer and straining out your little flavoring garnishments here. All right, so I'm getting out all those little things. I'm even taking out my cinnamon sticks. You could have somebody be lucky with their serving and get a cinnamon stick in there if you want. Sure, I'll put a cinnamon stick in yours, Audrey. We're gonna make one for Audrey. So I actually do a couple of things with this cider. You can either serve it as is, remembering that you haven't added any sugar to it. It's basically just nice warm apple cider that's been spiced. Or you can jazz it up a little bit. And so in my house, we call this like, you know, a fully loaded dessert cider, the way that I'm gonna serve it. Okay, so I just want to give it a couple of good stirs to make sure that I got all those little allspice berries out of there. And as you serve this out, if you find one, you can always get it out with your slotted spoon. It's okay. So just kind of making sure that I got those out of there. Alrighty. Okay, so now that I've got those pieces out, I'm going to get a ladle. And I've got my mug. And when I serve this, I'm going to put a couple ladles full in here for Audrey. Alright. Of course, in a witchy Halloween mug. And we'll put that there. And then it might seem very strange, but I'm actually going to put whipped cream on this, which I know sounds weird, but it's actually really good. Think about like whipped cream and apple pie. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it a nice little whip, and then I even take caramel and do a caramel drizzle on top. And there you have it. You can enjoy that, and you can stir your whipped cream in, or you can leave it just like that and have it as a nice fall treat. You don't have to do the whipped cream and caramel. You can put it in any mug you want, or like a paper hot cup. And then, like I said, if you didn't use all of your cider, you can certainly package this and put it in the fridge. I would just let it come down in temperature until it's not quite so hot before you put it in, for food safety reasons and that danger zone that we've talked about. So you'd want to let this come down to closer to room temperature and then store it in the fridge. Or you can just, you know, drink it all up as the evening progresses. So that's it.